Kia ora everybody, tuatahi, e mihi nui ana ki a koutou, kua whai wā ki te tai mai, I tēnei ahi ahi. Yes, thank you so much everybody for coming to our education panel today hosted by Te Runanga o Ngāti Ranginui Iwi. Firstly, can I just get you to just introduce yourselves, a little bit about your whakapapa and your mahi. We'll start with Heywood, Toni, Rauangi.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou e noho nei, e noho atu, ki ngā wā kāinga, koutou te pai, e mihana ki a koutou hoa maa. Heywood Kuka, Tumuaki te Wharekura o Mauao, Tumuaki au ki roto i te puna, no te hapu o te pirirākau, e mihi atu ki a koutou i tēnei wātono. Tēnā koutou.
Mai ngā ringa ki ngā turi o te kāpunga, ko ngai tamarāwa ho tēnei e mihi kawana ki a tātou katoa. I'm Toni Hiki Ririnui and I'm the Iwi Education Manager for Ngāti Ranginui. Kia ora tātou.
Tēnā koutou, ko Butler tēnei, he kai ako no te kuratuaro o Maunganui. Yeah, from Hangarau, Rangiwai Island, Motiti Island, down the line in Whakatane and Maungatautari on our nanny side summer. So, tēnei te mihi ki a koutou.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou ko Rauangi Ohia tōku ingoa, no Ngāti Pukenga, no ngā pōtiki. Hai, koe noi ho, tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia ora. All right, so can I please just get you guys to tell me a little bit about how distance learning is going in your different areas? So we've got mainstream, we've got Wharekura, tertiary, and we've got our iwi spaces too. So we'll just go back around the table again. Heywood, how's it going with the whole school?
Yeah, kia ora, hey, yeah, Rauangi was hanging out to hear about what's happening here at Wharekura Mauao. I suppose before I get to that, I might have to talk to you about my personal space first. That may put things into a little bit of perspective. So yeah, before looking after kura, I've got my own household to look after. So I live at Hangarau with Jamie and our kids, and also Pātai, who actually works at the Runanga as well in social services. So both Jamie and Pātai were essential workers. So they were working through the whole lockdown, and I was at home, working from home with 2 kids under 5. So, so in a personal space that it wasn't a holiday, or wasn't just at home doing nothing. It was trying to manage those 2 kids, also managing yes, definitely everything at a management level at the Wharekura o Mauao, because although tamariki aren't at school. Kāko need to get paid. Things need to still happen in the ministry space for our wharekura, so things don't stop. So from a personal point of view, yeah, was a struggle. I struggled for a little bit trying to just find that find the balance. But I was really lucky that I got a great team around me at Wharekura with my senior management team, who are Joe Cameron, who's in charge of curriculum, Taimana Bennett, who's in charge of pastoral, and Aramhau Ririnui, who's in charge of our tikanga. So those 3 really supported me in managing how the kura will operate in this lockdown. Also a board, I must mention the board, that are really supportive and let us manage, and they just govern. So I'm really grateful for those support networks. So yeah, home was home. I mean, looking after those 2 kids and juggling that with Mahi was all good. We just, we got a bit of space at home, so our bubble was pretty big, so it wasn't too bad in lockdown. But coming back to the kura space here, great team that was available the whole lockdown, and we just cut things up into those sections that they're in charge of. So Joe Cameron looked after all the teaching and learning, so she was the point of call where our teachers would go to, how things would look, what they should be, how long they should be online, when they should be online. coordinating with the families in that space. Taimana would manage, just the tikanga around how things looked in kura, getting our devices to our tamariki, ensuring that they're at the places they're at. That's one big issue in kura Māori, that although lockdown says you need to stay in this place, we know that our whānau Māori out there aren't in that space because they have to be shipped to another whānau, or auntie has to look after them, so 5 of them. So the logistics around getting devices to our tamariki was also really, really hard. Taimana looked after that. Aramahau ensured that our tikanga at school, the special character of our school stayed tūturu, so karakia and mihi in the morning and afternoon from our tamariki on Facebook, ensuring that our messages that we put out there, follow the what we want our kura to be known as and seen as. So without that team, it would have been a way harder job. And mine was just to ensure that the kura keeps standing through this whole ordeal. But probably finally, my message to my staff was their health and well-being and of their whānau and themselves comes first. So they had to manage at their house first. So if they were in a situation like mine, where they had to look after kids and work from, they had to tell me, and that was paramount. Secondly was the health and well-being of our tamariki. So contacting them and making sure that they were right, or they were in the place that they needed to be. That was second. And the third was the education, was learning. So learning was third in this whole kaupapa. So once we got through that, and we ticked off the boxes, kaikoa are fine, whānau are fine, then the learning could happen. And what I've seen has been it's been a success of distance learning. But those things about devices and connectivity and location for our tamariki are real issues. And unfortunately, in this whole lockdown, that equity space has grown bigger.
Yeah, it is.
Auckland Grammar School, they're all connected.
Exactly.
Wharekura or Mauao, some of our kids didn't even have Wi-Fi at their house, so we had to go through all of that. So, well, we got through it, and hopefully we just get better and better at it. So, koina kia.
Mean mahi. I'll switch over to Khan, going straight into mainstream. How's it going for you, cousin? And obviously, how's the surf? and how are our Māori kids doing?
Yeah, so tautoko here te kōrero he te parata there. You've got a wero taumaha tērā. Big challenge. I can only can decipher it from some of the emails from our Tumuaki. Emails almost every second day. Well-being i te tuatahi, nā whānau i te tuatahi, and I messaged him back and said, because he surfs as well, said make sure you cleanse with rongoa in the salt water, and then he sent back a pray emoji, which means that I know that he's kei te pukumahi I nāianei. Big kura, mainstream kura, and I can tautoko the sentiments there from the brother, because we're got a list of whānau and kids that need devices, all well and good to have all your education. For me, because my background was in media and ICT and stuff, I was chomping at the bit to start making some hard case Taika Waititi style educational videos. But understandably, that may only reach a certain audience. And even my Zoom calls, it's not tini me te mano. It's just a select few that seem to be turning up. No matter how funny and entertaining my Zoom messages are. Hoia no, that's I suppose that's what we have to do. I like the order that Matua put it in. It's well-being first. We're just trying not to bombard our whānau out there with a million messages. If that to the point. Hauora I te tuatahi, a hingaro, because you can tell there'll be some stressed whānaus out there. Although we're in week 5 now, hopefully a little bit of normality will come back now that we're in lockdown level 3. In terms of the education, I've just kind of put it out to the teachers that I'm work with, that we kind of make it not so much this is a test or this is what you need to bring back and this is a deadline, but maybe doing the learning around what you could do amongst your whānau. For those lucky enough to have regular contact with their whānau, and like mahi harakeke, or I've been really getting into looking at the stars and waiting every Monday for Dr. Rangi Mātauranga to drop some more knowledge, but trying to get kids in that space, because
Wananga, hard.
Yeah, get kids okay, go outside, have a look up, talk about mahutonga, and maybe that's the first tohu that you can look for i te tuatahi, just all those sort of things that they could do, access from home, and have it really whānau based as well. I would like more kids to come to the Zooms. That most of them are coming, but yeah, the ones that aren't there, you just kind of have to worry, and that's where I think it's been important to have a good team. Sounds like Heywood's got a good team around him, which is awesome, because that's what you need, I guess. And that's what's happening at the senior management level at Aotearoa as well. So they are driving around. One of our teachers is pretty much the courier driver to try and find whānaus with all the packs, the learning packs, as well as the computers, or the laptops getting out to them. They still haven't got them all out. Just trying to find whānau to give the packs out to, and but as Matua said, we've got to truck along and keep it moving. On a personal note, it's been awesome to reconnect with your whānaus, because and friends. I'm on every Saturday with Rauangi's brother. We haven't had this much catch up in years, because we're all pukumahi. We all, it's hard to get out of our own way when we're full on with mahi constantly, and really good to catch up like this in this forum with huis and connecting. Haven't had so much home cooked meals in ages. I'm not the one cooking most of them.
Poor Auntie Donna.
Poor Auntie Donna. She's been going hard, and I suppose that pays homage to how it used to be back in the day, when one income parent was enough, I guess, and there was more adult to kid one-on-one time, and that's been a pleasure. I'm just looking at all the silver linings that we can take out of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, Rauangi, how are we doing at the Wananga with our real classes?
We've just finished a real class, so basically I suppose it's probably the challenge for me has been making sure that even though we've been on a bit of a break and we've been on ISO, is to just maintain that contact with my students, to ensure that they're not feeling like this is too long a break for them, they can't keep up. So I know that other Kāhui Ako have been the same. We've just kept constant communication throughout the last 4 weeks. And so if that means giving them some little activities to do, or things that they could actually focus on with their reo, we just provided that. And, I think the biggest challenge was actually the fact that a lot of our tauira aren't all technology savvy, like myself. So I'm having to mentor these tauira into a new platform. We've got a new platform where we actually place our activities so that they can be accounted for online. And so I'm trying to mentor tauira within this new platform, and I don't even know it that well myself. So I'm learning as I'm teaching. And so that's been a real challenge. But in saying that, You know, we're lucky we've got this platform, and once I get it down and once my tauira have it down, it's going to be an amazing resource for us. Yeah, but you know, I mean, it just goes back to that āhurutanga and making sure that our tauira are comfortable, especially coming onto this space. This is very, very different being in a camera.
Oh,
yeah. A lot of us aren't even used to videoing ourselves, you know, being in front of a camera. And you can see all these faces looking at you, and there's things going on, and their whares behind them, and kids are running and yelling, and auntie's forgotten to turn off her mic, and all these other conversations are going on. So we've actually had a bit of a tikanga session, as Summer said, where we actually had to have a practice. We just went on to Zoom to have a practice at doing Zoom. And so just setting some tikanga for ourselves around using this type of technology, you know, that when one person is talking, that we turn off our mics. We have to turn on our our camera. That's one of our tikanga. You have to turn on your camera because people don't feel comfortable talking in this space when they can't see what's happening behind someone, you know, or what that person is doing. So just being mindful of that and showing some respect to people by turning on our camera so they can see who they're actually acknowledging or talking to. Yeah, so koira. But yeah, I really, it was good to hear that, you know, the likes of Heywood, they got awesome support around them, because I've thought about it a lot these last 4 weeks. How are our teachers and our kura going to do this? You know, it's such a huge task, but, you know, just goes to show if you have an awesome team, you can achieve anything. Yeah, but communication is the key.
Yeah.
Koe noi ka hua tike a Toni.
Kia ora.
Hi, kia ora tātou. I suppose I've been in a real privileged space where I get exposure to a lot of different people and a lot of different forums in the education area. So it's been cool to bounce a lot of whakaaro off others and just see where they're all at. I think the biggest thing that has shone through or has come through is the need to look at education in a different lens now. And this has really brought to the forefront the idea of teaching our kids how to learn as opposed to teaching them direct information. Teach them how to access information, teach them how to navigate all those different mediums where they can gain that, so they're not having to rely on one person in front of the class all the time. The fact that they've had accessibility to their Kāhui Ako during this lockdown has kind of simplified the way that they've, I suppose, are able to receive that information, because they're not having to deal with the behaviour around them while they're in class. They're not having to deal with all those social issues of, you know, the bullying or the be this, be that. So there's a lot of positives that I hope what we're going through is going to really enlighten some new forms or new ways of approaching how we teach our kids. Personally, for me, it's been awesome for my kids. And that's because they can be independent learners, although they rely heavily on being able to access their Kāhui Ako through Facebook Messenger, through their Zoom conversations or email. In all honesty, I don't even try to teach my kids because, you know, it just puts that relationship, which is already quite tumultuous as it is. So I just let them be. We highlighted what they had to get done and left it at that. As far as I'm concerned, the Kāhui Ako know what they're doing, even though it's distance learning, and the kids just got to learn how to deal with it, learn how to, you know, they'll come in, they'll ask, how do I get this or how do I find that out? And all I'll do is just suggest ways, suggest forums where they can, I suppose, engage with those information, and then just let them trial and error. I mean, you know, you can't continue to spoon feed our kids information. They got to learn how to be able to learn themselves. So that's something that shone through a lot through just bouncing off a lot of people, and I'm hoping that that's where we'll go as a nation, or as a people anyway, into being just teaching our kids how to learn as opposed to feeding information on constant. Yeah.
And I guess that's a really good segue into our next sort of kaupapa, which is around isolated living and sustainability of your households and those different things, like you said, a couple of you guys are around, you know, harakeke and marakai and all those things. So when we had the level 4 announcement coming and we had, you know, the panic buying and all that sort of stuff happening, there was a lot of us that were quite chilled and relaxed about it all, because, you know, we are really resourceful as Māori, right through to sustainability and all of that stuff that's just coming into being trendy now. Like, look at the way we eat fish heads and boil up, and, you know, we don't waste stuff. So have you guys, what sort of things from Te Ao Māori have you guys taken from this too? Like you said, a different lens, Toni. Anyone else?
Just for us personally as a whānau, it's just about manaakitanga. And so if we have something of excess, we share it amongst another household, or another household will give back. So really it's just been about aroha atu, aroha mai, manaaki, tangata, all of that kind of stuff. We're not, our garden kind of went kaput when level 4 kicked in, so we didn't get the opportunity to fill it. It was ready to roll, but oh well. But for us, well, we didn't need to do the excess buying, we just made do. But really it was about, if we had extra, we made sure to share it out. And we tried to cook or bake to have extra so that we could share with whānau.
Yeah, I've been a grateful beneficiary of Toni's tree. But I think if anything, going into the state, it is a state in some ways, it's actually taken us back to what we say is, you know, our normal tikanga Māori type of living. In that, you know, even for myself, looking at all these different things I was addicted to. And I never thought I was addicted to until I was put into the state where I had to just remain in my own whare. And to be honest, the first week for me was really, really hard. It was really, really challenging. And it was really about shredding all the I don't want to use the word, really, shedding all the paru, I suppose, off, you know, and actually really taking a good look at ourselves and time to reflect on the way we've been living. And, you know, I can say I had so many addictions, it wasn't funny. All types of addictions. You know, in the first week I craved everything. You know, McDonald's, whatever, everything I craved, until I actually it actually made me have a conversation with myself and actually say, you know, I've put myself in the state where I feel I really need all these things. So I just feel now, 4 weeks later, I'm actually back to where I was as a child, where I didn't actually need anything. When we were kids, we didn't even need our parents to feed us. We could just be walking along and picking apples off the tree, or, you know, peaches along the road. We actually didn't go home for a feed. We ran our communities, we swam at our river, and we ate whatever was around. So it was just about going back to that state of mind where food doesn't actually dominate our it really runs our whole thought, really, kai, and all those things, you know. So that's what it's been for me, is just, I suppose, being more authentic and real about what it is I actually need. And I know that for many whānau, we've saved a lot of pūtea even in the state, because we're not buying all these things that we don't actually need. So I know for me and my family, it's been a really, really good reminder. A good reminder in terms of what's important, you know, and it goes back to like what Toni was saying, manaakitanga, all those kind of things. Just looking after ourselves better in a way that your household is centred more around activity together and loving each other rather than material items.
Dawe. Khan, how has this been for you? And I want to change the question a little bit, in particular around not being allowed to go to the water. So we've got salt water running through our veins in our family, how was that 4 weeks for you? 5 weeks?
Yes, it's been a countdown, mate. Just in tears the last couple of days. Surf was absolutely pumping the last 2 days. I had to not look at it. I go for my early morning skate or bike to the beach, and then I don't know why, I just torture myself, look at it and go, oh my goodness, it's so good, and then have to go home and do a bit of marking. But Auntie Jacinda said, you know, stay home, save lives, and so we did. And today I went at 6 o'clock in the morning for my saltwater rongoa, and so did every surfer in the Tauranga or Bay of Plenty region. So
Yeah,
it was. I came back, and then I just waited for a little bit later on and carried on finishing off my marking, and then earn it.
So did it look safe though? Was there like social distancing going on out there?
There's more social distancing out in the surf, to be honest, than on the beach. And if you think about it, everyone's allowed to do one walk. But if that's every family in the whole of Tauranga, they're allowed to do their walks. But there was way more people walking up and down the beach, and understandable. Some beautiful days, man. Soon as the tai owl says, right, you fellas aren't stopping, so I'm going to stop you. Get inside for 4 weeks. Then the whole days just go clear as, and it was, you know, Papa Tuanuku saying enough's enough. Fellas aren't listening. Get inside, stay home, so that I can replenish myself, and it did, because there's been some cracking days. It's been beautiful, and we've been going for bike rides and stuff, and it's been really good, and good to get a dose of salt water in me today. Just going back on what Toni said, she's right. As a teacher that's kind of in the trenches all the time, but that's the space that I love. That's why I'm still there. I love being in front of the kids, and just sharing that banter, and they're easy meat when you're bantering with them too, especially teenage kids. But the classroom management is gone with this sort of forum. It's kind of stink, but it's the kids that really want to learn. They're online, and you can show that I got through so much stuff with them just in the first day. They really like to see their teachers, actually. That's been the common theme by principals' emails. And just the learning's been pretty good. They all put on their mutes, and then we have a time where we can unmute, and then I want to mute them again. But just sharing a bit of banter, because that's what Māori is all about, really, is that wairua and communal and face to face, and that's kind of what's hard. I suppose been hard as a Māori teacher, because that's my go-to. That's my trump card. And just hard and wairuaing the kids. So but in this forum, it's pretty cool. We're doing a bit of learning, and then we share a screen, and then we can so I share a doc with them as well, and then we go through maybe some sentence structures or some kemu, and then they can add to it. Obviously, they add more funny stuff back, and then I delete it and then say no, choose a different word. That's been pretty cool. So that Tony's right. There's a lot of positives in saying that. And then we found out that on Zoom you can draw a whiteboard, share the screen and draw a whiteboard. So we do a bit of Pictionary. Just it's funny what they come up with. And none of them can get my old movies when I draw Pictionary. But and I think that's the important thing, when they leave this environment with a bit of a smile on their face, a little bit happier.
Me.
We can always get in order.
Yeah. You cut out a little bit there, but that's all good. And then Heywood, how has it been with our Māori kids not being able to be around each other, and they've all been isolated from each other? It's a bit different.
Yeah, I suppose that was one of the some of the feedback I got from our staff is I think their first day or week, first week was basically more about tamariki and reconnecting with each other rather than the learning. That's what they were craving. Although it was interesting, Matua Taimana was he's been the courier driver here too, setting out laptops, and he's saying that some of the communities aren't doing really that great in keeping a bubble, but and they're interacting with the tamariki around them. But now the social interaction was what our tamariki wanted first, and basically our teachers just went with it, especially in our junior school. They just went with it and just turned the class into like a Zoom Wananga, and they just spoke about how they're feeling, what's happening, and ensuring that they're okay first of all. And once they got over that, they got into the learning. So we've got from our kura, we've got kids as far up in Ririatukahia, some from Waihi, far down as Maketu. So really isolated places. Whānau living on Matakana Island. Just different situations and contexts for our whānau. So the first bit of distance learning was about reconnection. Also with our teachers, after we sit down and said the focus of your health and well-being, and then the tamariki's health and well-being, then learning, I reiterated that it's impossible it's impossible for them to teach what they were doing at school. So that level of content, I didn't want them to try and duplicate it because you just can't. You have to find a middle ground and see what you can do online and what you can't. And feedback from that has been really positive. I had a conversation with one of my teachers the other day, and they said that and they their parents as well said that they've actually his boys have done more mahi on this platform than they have at school. So, which is true, I can believe it, and so it's got my brain thinking of how school will look for the rest of the year moving forward. So we can hopefully do more kaupapa stuff at school, knowing that these tamariki are going to be doing their mahi because it's online. They can do it in their own time. Sometimes a lot of the time I tell our teachers don't rely on Zoom. Pre-record your lessons and set it up there, because some tamariki are working and some tamariki you have to look after kids, and once the parents come back, that's when they can jump online. So all these different contexts. I'm really excited about what this lockdown has forced education into doing, and it's forced education into focusing on what's important, not what people think is important. So I'm really excited about the fallout, the positive fallout this is going to have on education, especially for our Māori tamariki, because we know the stats say that they don't come to school on Mondays and Fridays. Takes one barge to be late, and the Matakana kids can't come here. Maketu, if you live in Maketu and you wake up at 6:30, you're not going to catch your bus at 6:45 down the end of the road. So if we have that flexibility, we definitely can make a better difference for these tamariki. So it's been a good space to observe and work in.
Very cool. All right, and just quickly, I will get you guys to just give us one little tip or a trick or some sort of anything for our whānau out there, all of us parents that are trying to fail at teaching kids, or like a running theme has been to look after ourselves first and all of that stuff. So yes, just any final words from everyone. We'll start with Toni and Rauangi, and then Kāna and Heywood. Oh, turn your mic on, Toni.
Don't try and teach your kids. You aren't a lot of our whānau aren't teachers, and teachers who are teachers have been doing it. They've studied for how many years? They've been in that world for how many years? So don't presume to be able to take on those roles. just embrace this time and be with your kids. Be you.
Kia ora.
Yeah, I suppose for I teach tertiary, of course, so I think, you know, one technique in terms of, I think for teachers to look at it, and it's what Heywood talked about, was going, you put them into that space of just sort of being interactive again. And the same thing can happen with parents too. They can actually set up Zoom sessions with their kids amongst themselves, putting them to the space where they're interactive again, or even FaceTime. You know, the kids could even do that. So parents encourage that for them to work with each other, have that interaction with each other. And going back to that space, so I know that when we started our class yesterday, we just said, we're going to put you into breakout rooms on Zoom, and you're just going to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah.
And share whatever your challenges are or what's been good about this time in ISO. So, you know, we don't know what space people are at, and some things are so maha, you know, and so just give them that space, the kids, to talk to other kids about how they're feeling in this ISO space. Kia
ora. Yeah, and just following that, we went into these breakout rooms yesterday for our reo class, and there was only 5 of us in each room. So it was a lot more intimate than a big classroom, and we just went around the circle and shared some stuff, and almost every single breakout room had a whānau mate, and so we all had a tangi together, and then brought it back, and then, you know, we had Nathaniel in there, and he gave a mihi, and it was beautiful, and then we came back together again, and then Rauangi lifted us back up. So it was really cool, and it was very healing too to be able to have those spaces. All right, boys.
My daughter just came through the door and asked if I wanted KFC. So
yes,
they're hanging out to go to KFC.
Sorry,
we've had the best home cooked meals, and these fools want to go out and get some KFC. But yes, tautoko here, Heywood at the start actually, with his young ones. Me and Donna have been going, yes, it's going to be empty next year. And next minute we've had them we've had them here for the last 5 weeks, and it's been cool. But the first week was, and this is where I tautoko whaia Toni, yes, whānau, if you know that the wick is that short with your own kids between each other, then don't bother trying to teach your kids. In our first week, we had to, this is the tip anyway, we had to find designated areas where we can cool down if we all get on our nerves, each other's nerves. Because this family is a family of puta mohils. And we, so that was my tip, right? Cool off in one area if we each get on each other's nerves. But that only happened the first couple of days, and then now we've been sweet. It's been actually really good. So tautoko, the don't try and teach if you don't have to. We got it sussed. We can help your kids just enjoy your time with your whānaus out there. So,
and I want to request a concert from that household too. All right.
Lag time.
Heywood, finish us off, please.
Got it. Yeah. Tips. Yeah, just our expectations in the space should be around reconnection, and you know, for me at home, I've had Ronga boy. He's going to be 5 in July, and I'll spend a lot of time. You know, he already knows how to ride a bike, but I'll spend a bit of time showing him how to ride a bike around Bethlehem here, because there's been no cars on the road. It's been safer. Yeah. So for me, that's the kind of learning that we can do as parents at home. We don't have time for it if we don't have time for it and otherwise. But you know, it's been awesome for these last couple of weeks doing things with him. Yeah, you know, we're lucky we have a garden and we live on a farm, so we live rurally, so he knows all about that. But for me, for anyone out there that's maybe struggling in this space, don't worry about the education. Don't worry about NCA. Don't worry about things like that. It'll come. reconnection with your whānau, you know, pick up something that you've always wanted to do. Like if you haven't had time to do something, focus on that thing. So if it may be, for Jamie, I know she always wanted to learn how to do a garden. Although I've been doing gardens for years, she's always wanted. So we've had a little bit of time to be able to work through that. What garden, how do we do gardens, things like that. So don't worry too much about the credits of NCA education. Education is about connecting with your whānau at home. So yeah, awesome kōrero e hoama.
Mean. Oh, that was so good. Thank you so much, everybody. And we might, if we've got any questions from whānau, chuck them down below, and then these four will answer them in their own time. So if any whānau have any questions for our panel here, throw the questions down in the comments, and they'll do their best to answer them. But yes, anyway, go back to your whānau. I'm going to go back to my kid now. Thank you so much, everybody. Ka kite.